When Hamas carried out terror attacks in Israel on October 7th, the damage throughout the region was absolutely devastating, as you know. And one organization, the U.S., Samaritan's Purse, stepped up and pledged to help. But it wasn't until a visit to the region when they decided that they had to do much, much more.
Yeah, that's right. Here to tell us about his trip to the war-torn nation and what they decided to do to help, the president and CEO of Samaritan's Purse and president and CEO of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, Franklin Graham. Mr. Graham, thank you so much for coming on here. We understand you're going to go from originally 14 ambulances to 21. But you didn't make this choice till you went over there and you saw the devastation, we'll call it, for yourself here. Tell us about it.
Thank you, Bob. It was these 14 ambulances were destroyed on October 7th by Hamas as they were rushing to the various clinics and different kibbutzes. They got the call to come save life, that there had been a shooting. They didn't know how big this was. They didn't know the scope of it. And so 14 were destroyed, 11 of their people. When I say people, this is Magan David Adom. This is the first responders. It's an organization. And after I saw it, I decided they needed some armored ambulances. And so we're buying, in addition, 7 armored ambulances. So that'll be 21 ambulances that we're providing all total.
And incredible what you're doing there, and especially I think being on the ground, I'm sure, showed you much more than you could ever fathom being here in America. So I do want to hear a little bit about your reaction being there, and then I also want to hear about your prayer meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've been exposed to evil quite like this. It's hard to describe. When these people come in and are shooting women, children, everybody, and just mowing them down, it just breaks your heart. So no question about it. Talking to the people, I talked to a widow whose husband was a doctor, and he had run to the clinic, was about 100 yards away, and they knew there was some shooting, but they didn't know what it was, and he was killed in his clinic. And so for 14 hours, she hid in the house trying to stay alive. And she's a wife with 2 little children, and now she's a widow and facing life without her husband. I met a woman who had lost her daughter in that same clinic. And so she came to see me with her 3 remaining daughters. There were 4 daughters total, and 1 was killed, so the 3 remaining daughters. And they are just the sadness and the hopelessness. And I just shared with them from the Old Testament and quoted some scripture to them and just loved on them and prayed for them. And they were so appreciative of someone just taking time to pray for them. But you just see the senseless killing that these people, they're just barbarians. They're demon-possessed people. I can't explain it any other way. But Samaritan's Purse, we're buying food boxes, for the families that are living in hotels. Close to 500,000 people are living in hotels because they had to move away from the border areas where the fighting is. And so we have food vouchers. They can go to a store and buy food. We take boxes of food to them. Hygiene kits. We're providing, they need defibrillators. We're providing those. We're doing whatever we can just to help. But we work with the local churches, about 80 churches in total that we're working with. We're also helping in Gaza. And what I mean by that, we've helped with churches that are there in Gaza. We've provided some funding to them, and also churches that are on the West Bank that would be Palestinian churches. These are not, of course, these are just very small communities. Mm-hmm. But we're doing what we can to try to help the people. And of course, I'm a Christian, and I want people to know I'm there because of my faith. And I just prayed with everyone, even the Prime Minister. When I met with him, we talked for a while. Then I said, Mr. Prime Minister, can I just have a word of prayer with you? And prayed for him.
That's amazing.
So there's a lot of need in Israel and that part of the world right now. And
well,
this is
certainly is, yes.
Right now. I prayed for her, and these are people from the Magan David Adom. That's one of the homes right there you're looking at, where a man was shot and his wife was shot and his child was shot right there. So